Hi, this is Casey Urlacher, the mayor of the village of Mettawa, and you're listening to the Lake Forest Podcast.
Welcome to the Lake Forest Podcast, a podcast about the lovely city of Lake Forest, featuring topics like local news, sports, music, people, food, and turf. My name is Pete. I'm joined with the voice of the Lake Forest High School basketball, football, lacrosse, chess team, Skoo. Woo, woo, woo. The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Make a memory of a lifetime with Shark Eye Outdoors out of Longboat Key, Florida. Experience their shark beach fishing, kayak tours, and fossil hunting. Go to sharkeyeoutdoors.com to schedule an outing now. Forest Bluff Real Estate Group serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. They're a cannabis cultivation center owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich. They focus on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. Iliad Epic Grow. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havy Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest-owned Mike Havy. Check them out at havycommunications.com. We'd also like to say that we're thankful for our patron supporters. Reverend Luke Beck from the Church of the Holy Spirit. Matt A. Elizabeth C. Coastal Lance Otto, RDM, John C. and Dan Rogers. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop in Kenosha, Captain Mike's Kenosha, Greentown Tavern in Waukegan, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan. Walker, how you doing, Skoo?
Doing good. Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic, Skoo. This is a great day. Later on the show, we have the mayor of Mettawa, Casey Urlacher, joining us.
Nice.
He is pretty upset that he lost out to Lake Colonial.
Okay.
We'll get to that later.
I don't think he lost out to Lake Colonial. But you're the host.
He'll be on a little bit later, and we'll have a little chat with him. We'll talk a little politics. Skoo, I don't know if you notice what I'm wearing here.
I do.
Do you happen to know?
Communication.
Havy Communications.
A very good dude.
We are not about promotions on this show.
Right. Nor do we want to ever be.
Never. But we will accept support. Small bills, please.
You got something crawling up your left breast.
Spider, I'm told that's very cool. First responders.
You look good.
First responder wear. So, Skoo, where do I begin here?
Where'd you like to begin?
I'm pretty pissed off. You know why?
Ooh, why? Uh-oh.
Somebody went into...
Hang on, let me put my seatbelt on. Okay.
All right, you bolted in?
Oof.
Somebody went into the West Deerpath train station and tore off the urinal. Did you see that?
I saw that. What is freaking wrong with people? I mean, I hope they find the people, those poor guys.
They got some pretty good picks, man. I mean,
it's just, it's unbelievable.
Believable?
A urinal. Okay.
Dumb teenage boys. That's unbelievable.
I don't know if they're teenage. We can't speculate.
Fair enough.
Hopefully they're, no. Hopefully, I don't know.
My bad to all the teenagers out there, but I saw that post.
Unbelievable.
How much of that city council meeting did you check out?
I watched a good chunk of it before I kind of laughed myself to sleep.
Well, they definitely Mr. Buchanan, is that his name? Oh, Buschmann. Mr. Buschmann is really stretching out his term. I mean,
he should step down right now. Just my opinion.
Well,
just end it. But he's going to take it to the end and just drag out and.
Well, did you?
Wait. Before we even get going, here's my rub on the whole meeting. Yeah. Obviously, last night was a conserve energy meeting because it's just like every time someone spoke, they forgot how to turn on their mics. And I'm sitting there like, what are you saying? I mean,
did you see me in chat?
No.
Oh, the AV guy was like, I don't know who the AV guy was.
Well, it's not his fault.
No, I think they busted Buchanan's microphone.
Buschmann. Why do you keep saying Buchanan?
I don't know, because
the most controversial alderman probably ever, and we're gonna don't let him get I
think somebody did something to it because everybody else's mic was working.
No, they weren't. Well, some were, but some the thing is, and believe me, I know how it is because I was there. You have to hit the button on the mic on and then hit the button off. And when these people are talking and they're not hitting the button,
yeah,
you're hearing the person speaking from the mic of the person sitting next to him who might have it on.
Okay.
It's just if you're not gonna, if you're gonna broadcast these things, hit the mic button, guys. I mean, it's not. But they might have pulled the plug on Buschmann because it is painful listening to him just word salad his way to when you got people that support him start scratching their heads, like what the heck is he talking about? I like George. Go ahead. Just get it off your chest.
Out.
I mean, you're gone in a couple months. You've caused so much controversy, in the negative. Just say your piece.
Well,
hilarious.
I'm a little under the weather this morning because last night I did a drinking game with my buddies, and every time that Era did an eye roll.
I'm telling you, it is just.
I watched the whole thing. I won't watch the World Series. I won't watch the NCAA football championships, but I will stay up till 10:15 to hear the very last peep of the Lake Forest City Council.
Just amazing.
And
I think it's amazing that they're minus a very, very, very big issue that they were discussing and voting on that evening, and the newest alderman again is a no-show.
That's a second in a row no-show?
I believe so. I mean, it's like you're interviewed to be a councilman on our city council, and you're being vetted through the process. And do you have any conflicts? Do you have any issues with work or attending meetings and all that? Nope, I don't. Okay, well, great. You've been supplanted and put on there, and then you don't show at the meetings, and then when you do show, again in a very controversial issue,
you don't show.
I'm not going to vote. My first vote, I'm out.
Skoo.
I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Is that Nancy? To be fair to Nancy Novitt, to her credit, she's a very honest person, because when she said how she was going to prepare for these meetings, she wasn't going to do anything, and she wasn't.
Well, I mean, my goodness. Again, it's like, I'm laughing because we had that whole discussion when they were in. How'd you prepare? Everyone gets the same question. How'd you prepare for this meeting? I didn't. Why should I?
Me too.
I was told
I'm not going to show up.
I was told to just show up here and I'd be thrown in as an alderman. I mean, my husband was an alderman, and I got his notes.
I got his notes from 2012.
I'm a pedigree, or what is it? I'm a what do they call
Legacy.
it? A legacy. I'm a legacy. I'm in.
A pledge pin.
And then the first three meetings, I think it's the 3 meetings, and someone will correct me, obviously, if I'm wrong, but, you know, her first meeting, I'm not voting.
So she was there, but she wasn't really there.
Right.
So do you count that as a 0.5? So all her last 3 meetings, let's say 4, it's counted as a 2.5.
And the next meeting, cricket. You know, where's that new alderman that we just
Oh
nowhere.
My God.
And then last night, another big issue to vote on.
You know where she was? Because
listen, if something's wrong, I apologize. I understand and all that, blah blah blah. But again, I mean, you are interviewed to be an alderman on the city council. You are asked point blank if there's conflict, if there's, is this really an issue with your work and this and that, because don't do it if you can't make it. She's over 3.
Skoo, we're fans of Seinfeld on the show, right? Did anybody look underneath the desk? You want to be my
latex salesman.
No. Did you look underneath the desk?
Right. The dais. Come on. I mean, jeez.
Oh.
Anyways.
Well, then Melanie had to make sure that, that plastic was staying put.
Again, it was just fun to watch because I'm like, Melanie's rolling off. She's making some good questions. She's kind of, sounds great, making good points, and
yeah.
But I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, wait for it. Boom!
Bam.
There. Are you sure you guys were doing this to correct?
Was it recycling or reusable?
Well, it was funny because it's like, you guys you did a fantastic job and all this, but are you sure you did it the right way? Is, recycling versus reusing? I mean, was it needed? Yeah, but she got the microphone. At least she didn't use her mic the right way too, because I was trying, doing the, good God, come on, hit the on button. She was using Ted's mic that was left on, so she's like, what did she? Oh my goodness, good Lord!
Era's eyeballs look like slot machines.
Ara's. How about our mayor? Was
he's good.
The funny thing about George is, like, he makes a statement and all of a sudden it's like every time now it's for the council to give their opinion. He's like, okay, so I guess it's time for the council to input. Sure. Does anyone want to say anything? No one wants to say anything, right?
Well, here, as we're recording this podcast, it's 9:45 a.m. the following morning. Can somebody check on those guys to see if they're still in there?
I mean, it's just kind of funny that
the only one that's sitting on the chair is Nancy Nova, because she just woke up.
Good God.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. Well, but it's not whatever. It's something that, the community has to look at that and watch it. No one,
there was 15 people watching it. I think we should get some of our listeners
and then people blow us crap when we make comments on it. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's all that blah blah blah.
No enough.
Did you watch it?
No enough.
Did you watch it? No. Did you go to it? No.
Shut your pie hole.
Oh my goodness, everyone.
So
we're not live, are we?
No, we're Memorex.
It's just too funny.
Oh, and then of course you got the usuals coming up there for a public opinion on the turf, but they weren't talking about the turf. They're talking about the
Oh,
January 6th
new lawsuit.
lawsuit.
The funniest thing about it, it just,
You know what? Hey, guys. Hey, Reed, if you guys have discretionary income, go to the Lake Forest Podcast Patreon page.
wow.
Lawyers, man.
Well, I just think the funny thing was when the original lawsuit happened, everyone that was brought into it, and then they were all dismissed and whatever, were screaming, I gotta now pay for a lawyer and this and that. It's like, and now we're rehashing it, and now they're filing a lawsuit. I don't know. At what point, do you just, I guess, to have that?
Is it that ugly of a building? Is it that bad of a building?
No. And they've gotten whatever they wanted. And it's just kind of, first they wanted an additional house on it. They got the house. Now they don't like the house. Now, they wanted the building reduced. Now the building was reduced. Now, I would like to see, since property values are the big issue.
Yeah.
When these people sell, if the people sell, I really doubt, or if they're trying to sell right now, I doubt that too, but I don't know. I would say property values, and I'm not a realtor and don't pretend to be, but I got to imagine your property value is less if you have a nasty, ugly, vacant lot sitting next to you.
With a dumpster on it.
And on top of it, across the street, a house that has been vacant for 15 years, 10, 12 years. Beautiful house with just disgusting brick laying in the yard and all. I got to imagine property values in that area are lower with those eyesores than with a house and a condo unit filling up the vacancies. I don't know. I'm not a realtor. Come on, realtors, speak up.
Well, speaking of speaking up, it's the same cast of characters that go up to that podium, and I'm not saying any names, but better served.
No, I think, you know what? Everyone has a right to go up there,
yeah.
But it just kind of, and they're neighbors of ours, they're community members. I'm not going to bash people and all that, but I mean, at least go up there if you're going to go up there with some data that you're, I mean, the one person who, went over her time, I mean, God, I wanted to run my head through. Well, it's just kind of, yeah, she's a smart woman and all that, and brings up, but it's just,
there's so many causes in this world that really could use that energy.
Yeah, but I mean, and they all do good stuff, but is it really, is this faction, this is turning into the I hate the city, whatever the city decides, we're going to go against, and we're going to find something, some flaw, and we're going to ride that pony into, it's just like, come on.
Let's take a break from those people and
but it's good video. It's fun to watch.
It's good for podcasting. On a serious God bless us. On a serious note, on a positive serious note, they had all those first responders.
Unbelievable.
The Lake Forest Fire Department Clinical Save Awards. Tonight, we're honoring rescue efforts by the Lake Forest Fire Department, Lake Forest Police Department, Dispatch, and the Chicago Bears staff. Over the last few months, Lake Forest first responders have done 3 clinical cardiac saves. These saves were on calls where the patient was in full cardiac arrest and considered deceased. Through the heroic efforts of the people involved, 3 different patients were able to regain a heart rate, were taken to Lake Forest Hospital for further care, and eventually were released to return home safely to their families. I'm happy to introduce Battalion Chief Andrew Rick and Dr. Michael Peters from Lake Forest Hospital, who will present the SAVE Awards. And then we're going to have a lot of pictures.
A lot of pictures. Dr. Peters is coming. Honorable Mayor, members of council, thank you. Obviously, with a number of people, especially, thanks for having us come and letting us do this tonight. It's a really good opportunity to look at a lot of segments of our public safety. We have the police, the fire, our dispatch center, and then even the community members that were involved as well. We do work closely with all those other departments, and none of us do any of these things for the awards or the recognitions. I think this is something we just enjoy our job. We like doing what we do. But this is a really cool opportunity to find a few of those moments when we really make a true difference in someone's life, and that there's an opportunity for somebody that wasn't going to go home unless there was some intervention, and we've sent those people back to their families. Really cool opportunity tonight that 2 of those people, 2 of the 3 that we actually had a save for, have shown up tonight, and an opportunity to shake some hands with some of the people that were involved. I think that to me is more meaningful than the award that's involved, is the opportunity to say hello to that person, shake a hand, and talk a little bit about who they are and get to know them a little bit more. So as we mentioned, we've had a number of saves over the last 6 months, but we are at a 55% save rate right now for the last 6 months, which is far and above anything that any of us truly expect. The national average is only about 5% right now. Part of that deals with a lot of good work that we've been doing, a lot of good training that we've been doing, but it's all those other components that are involved in making sure that the perfect process is set in place so that those people have a good chance to survive.
We're describing events here that are truly life-saving. You heard the rates for recovery from resuscitation for cardiac arrest being around 5% nationally. And the rates for the firefighter paramedics in the city of Lake Forest are much higher. First case occurred in the early afternoon of August 15th, 2022. Lake Forest Fire Department was dispatched for a 69-year-old male in cardiac arrest. When the 6 firefighter paramedics from Lake Forest arrived on scene, bystanders were already performing CPR and had used a community AED to perform cardiac defibrillation. The fire crews took over the resuscitation. They work in a pre-established role. Each person has a defined role, and they work together as a team to provide the best chance for recovery. They immediately performed high-quality, uninterrupted chest compressions, which are a key component to resuscitation success. They instituted airway management, and they administered life-saving medication. Their patient regained his heartbeat, and he was safely transported to Northwestern Medicine Lake Forest. Upon arrival, he was breathing on his own. The emergency department continued care, and he was eventually discharged.
We can do photos, yeah.
Second patient, this event occurred on the early afternoon of October 15th, 2022, when a 39-year-old father collapsed in his driveway, which was witnessed by his son. He called 911, and the dispatchers instructed the man's son on how to perform CPR on his father. Lake Forest police officers quickly arrived on the scene and took over CPR from the patient's son. And then 6 Lake Forest firefighter paramedics arrived soon after, again, each performing a specific role to continue the resuscitation. After several cardiac defibrillations and doses of medication, the patient regained his heartbeat and he was transported to Lake Forest and was later discharged. The third event occurred again in the early afternoon on November 29th, 2022. Lake Forest Fire Department was dispatched for a 60-year-old female who had fallen on her driveway. While they were responding to the call en route, the firefighter paramedics were notified that the patient was possibly in cardiac arrest and that dispatchers were instructing the neighbors to start CPR. Upon arrival, Lake Forest Fire Department paramedics took over CPR from the neighbors, continued high-quality, uninterrupted chest compressions, performed cardiac defibrillation, airway management, and administration of medications. After 15 minutes, paramedics regained a heartbeat on their patient and safely transported her to Lake Forest Hospital, where she was later discharged.
They saved how many lives? Like, and they're going up their percent, like 55%. I'm like, if I'm going to drop, I'm going to drop in this town because my odds are better for coming through. And they recognized all those people that came through. I mean,
and I'm going to tell you, our family is a personal recipient of first responders, and
blink of an eye, they're there.
When we hit 911, I mean, it wasn't like it was,
It's not
I didn't
like
get
Chicago.
a chance to lock the door yet. They're here. But yeah, it's unbelievable. And, we don't give enough attention, and we should. And the only time we do give attention, unfortunately, is when something catastrophic may have happened where they just were superior. Yeah. But, the other thing I wanted is Ara.
He did it on purpose.
Made a point of well, he didn't make a point, I'm sorry, of the first responders, but I wanted to also tip my hat to the couple guys that were retiring.
Whereas Crispin P. Abel has been a dedicated employee of the city of Lake Forest since March 15th, 1988. And whereas Pete Abel began his career in the city of Lake Forest as a maintenance worker too. And whereas Pete Abel has used his 35 years of experience and knowledge in the water and sewer fields to educate and train his coworkers. And whereas Pete Abel has been relied on for all facets of the department and has been lead operator for water metering and utility locating. And whereas Pete Abel has been a mainline driver for snow operations and has on numerous occasions assisted in other areas when called upon. And whereas Pete Abel has been a dependable and dedicated employee who took pride in the services he provided. And whereas Pete Abel honorably retired from the city on December 16th, 2022, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Lake Forest that the council, on behalf of the administration and residents of the community, hereby expresses its appreciation and gratitude to Pete Abel for a public service faithfully performed.
And
yeah, who are those guys?
They were just regular city workers that put the time in, and it was it's a long time. I mean, when you're doing the stuff they do, and everyone doesn't give them credit, and Era was tipping his hat too, but these guys, again, they're there all the time. When we need them, we take them for granted, and
well, whoever
the guys, all those guys, it's like, I know people, I don't know, they're such an important part of our city success that, the city staff and all that, it
man.
Kind of,
well,
it's not about the pseudo politicians that, want to be, that run our city too, but it's everyone behind the scenes, whether, it's phenomenal. And so many people want to bash our city and what people do. And, it's like the one person, it's just like constant bitch about what the city does and doesn't do. But, oh, you know what? By the way, I had to get called on by the, workers of the city, and they were quick to respond to me, and, blah, blah. So it's like, give it a rest. I mean, you wouldn't do what they're doing, and, your expectation, and I hate to say the expectation of so many people, and I'm going to use the garbage men as an example.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone expects their garbage to be picked up twice a week. First off, how many communities pick up garbage twice a week? And these guys are there and no comments. They do their job. You don't see garbage laying all around the streets and all that. I mean,
I had to pay for it in Arlington Heights, and my taxes were higher.
So I mean, I think it's phenomenal that we pull aside, one meeting and honor these people. We should be doing it more often, and I really hope the city kind of changes that thing, and maybe at city council meetings spotlights an individual each meeting or something, and brings out someone that's done phenomenal work, or someone that just does their job. But has a great segment.
They can sit right on the sofa here, crack a beer, and we'll recognize them here.
So yeah, again, all long-winded, but I thought that was phenomenal with the police and the fire guys and the paramedics and all that, and then honoring the couple guys that are retiring and the thing, how much that means to those guys. To get. It's great,
almost as much as knowing that their pensions are going to be leveled out in a couple years.
Well, hope not, but
well, leveled out meaning break even. So, that was the positive part of the show. Era did mention are the snow guys the garbage guys too? They are in the city.
I don't. Yeah, some might be, but I don't think so. I think they're separate guys and all that. I was just shocked. I thought Era was going to say, what he said was great and all that, but I thought he'd throw on his boots and all that and run out there and give him a hand and all that. I mean, dude, come on.
Give him a Goodfellas handshake.
Don't be looking out the window all snuggled up, saying how cold it is. Sorry, Era. Can't wait to get on.
Skoo, all these people that are bitching compared to what?
Right.
Go in the city, you drop dead on the street, call 911. What neighborhood are you in? You ain't getting nothing.
Again, all I say is garbage picked up twice a week, as well as recycled.
Well, nothing's free, but
I mean, yeah, but you're paid tax. But I mean, come on.
All right, so kudos to those guys. And there was a white shirted guy, I'm sure he was a lieutenant, that was kind of in control of the because that city hall was packed last night with all those people.
Yeah,
because they had all the families and whatnot. Whoever the lieutenant guy was from the fire department, and this is from a copper that tells me, I think it's Lipkowski. He said if those guys get off the lazy boy, call up the podcast and we'll have them come on and give them some kudos. Anywho, that lawsuit, Skoo, did you see that it was filed January 6th? So that means it's going to be coming up for court April 6th.
No, I didn't see that.
Is that a quinky dinky?
I don't know if it's a quinky dinky. It depends on who you're asking.
I think it's just wild that it's coming up right before the mayoral election. It's good timing.
Who knows? Well, let's see.
Well, so speaking of the mayoral,
maybe they'll have everything built by then.
What, the lawn signs?
No, the building and the house.
Oh, yeah, of course. Let's see. Speaking of the mayoral election, my phone blew up last week with people saying, you got to turn on 560. I go, what's 560?
It's like 420.
So I'm like, 560? No. AM 560. I go, wait, AM. Anybody got
WIND? Well, you said it to me, and I couldn't get my dial to go that far to the left.
I'm like, WIND. Like, I remember, wasn't that
WIND growing up?
Well, for me, that's the school closings. Hell with WGN. I think
Right.
yeah. But Jacobson, I'm guessing it's Walter Jacobson's daughter and some guy named Prophet. I tuned in because somebody said, "Hey, turn it on." Once I figured out where I could find it, I got the URL and was listening to it. I'm like, huh.
Imprudent,
Oh, see what you
isn't she?
Lots of phone calls here. Whew.
Yeah, but it's just all these women hating men like Jay on the north side. Hey, Jay.
Good morning.
Morning. Prudence or Randy? Dr. Randy, to you.
Well, I just feel people over the past decade have been voting for the wrong reasons. They're voting emotional, and this whole gender thing, it's out of control. I've always looked at the position like a job, and I feel that people need to look at their qualifications and their policies and vote strictly on that, not what they look like, what their skin color is, what their
about
age.
their names? What about their names?
No,
their
not
first name.
you know what? It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I was raised that, even if you don't like the person, respect the position. And I mean, I just think people are just too emotional, again, in the past decade, and they're voting for the wrong reasons. They're voting for somebody because they're young. They're voting for somebody because of their ethnicity and stuff like that. I'm like, it's wrong. They need to look specifically at their qualifications and their policies and their histories. Vote for those people on those reasons and those reasons only.
Thanks for the call, Jay. See, that's the problem. You have men like Jay who, just got chipped out of an iceberg talking about, merit and assessing people based on their character or their skill sets or their policy decisions. I mean, we can't go back to that bad old time, can we? Prudence? Who wants a mayor of Prudence? Dr. Randy, he's a cisgendered honky. Maybe no mayor in Lake Forest. George in Naperville.
What type of footwear do they possess? Because women's legs look real sexy in high heels.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a great question. Maybe you should go when the Plague of Women Vipers has their debate. Maybe you could go to that and ask that question. Thanks for the call, George. Right. Maybe Dr. Andy will be asked, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to don some pumps?
What about identifying or changing your pronouns?
Yeah.
That might help.
Yeah, thanks for again, Lake Forest Caucus endorsed Dr. Randy, so they didn't buy this vote for me or support me because I'm a woman deal, so that's worth noting. An idea so dumb only a professor could believe it. And that's what you have a lot in these wealthy, educated areas, is you have a lot of people that are brainwashed to some extent. That's part of it. I think the bigger part of it is they're just huge cowards. They just have stuff they want to protect, and they just want to go along with whatever is popular. They don't want to rock the boat because they don't want to be targeted by these neo-Jacobin mobs, and so they just go along with all sorts of things that they actually know are insane, but they do it anyway because they're cowards. And by the way, that's not a legitimate excuse. That's not a compelling rationale.
Well, we got another juvenile text message. My guess is that Prudence has cankles.
I think Dr. Randy might, though, too. I don't know. I only see headshots.
I gotta Google these people.
And, they both are in, professional suits. Nice, professional headshots.
From Lake Forest, they're not going to wear leisure wear or active wear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not right. It's not like Hinsdale where the men wear leggings, too.
Oh,
yeah.
God, it's so bad. Stop. Those are for us only. Please don't wear them. Please stop, men. Please stop carrying around your yoga mats. Just please.
It's
so embarrassing. Oh,
I want to apologize. It's not leggings because those are for women, but meggings are specifically made for men.
When did they start making Lululemon for men?
I wear Lululemon golf
you do.
pants.
The
golf pants are for men, and they're very comfortable. They're quality golf pants.
All right, good. And you'll have them forever, I bet.
And I also don't have cankles. Bill in Cape Coral.
I just hope this case doesn't go to the Supreme Court because, again, the justices don't even know the definition of a woman. How are they going to decide this case?
Yes, exactly. Well, we'll have to leave it to the voters of Lake Forest. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, Amy, continuing our discussion about identitarianism in a more serious way than the Lake Forest mayor's race.
They're talking about Prudence Beidler.
Oh, boy.
And Dr. Randy Tack. And, it's your typical conservative echo chamber show. And, but then somebody calls in and says, "Hi, I'm on the Lake Forest caucus, and I just want to let you know that Prudence didn't interview very well."
Oh, really?
I'm like, wait a minute. I got the shit kicked out of me because I was talking about it on my podcast. We got people from the caucus calling in, giving it. Did you hear about that?
No, I did.
Okay.
I just did.
Okay.
That's too funny.
So
I guess it answers our irrational assumptions then that there's got to be a reason that she was bypassed. She didn't interview well.
Okay. But I guess that's the format to whatever. And then
this is the chuckle hour because everything we're talking is it's kind of funny in the end. But
I mean, you can't.
Go ahead, Chuckles the clown. Continue.
I thought I was Truman.
Oh, you are Truman.
Truman the clown. So so then I'm like, I go back to did I hear what I just heard? Because it's a 4-hour show and they put up 2 hours of it for a podcast. So I go back to check it out, and all that stuff is gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Gone. Are you ready for this? But you know what is on the page for their podcast?
What?
Advertisements. Guess for what? Dr. Randy Tack for mayor.
Really?
Swear to God.
I'm not following. What does that all mean?
Well, I'm guessing that if somebody from the caucus calls in, they probably shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Or maybe they should have done that. I don't know. But so that stuff, everything's got wiped out. But what is up there is banner ads for Dr. Randy Tack. So, advertising and editorial and sales aren't supposed to mix.
Okay.
So I called up, the station. I talked to the producer, Quinn. I said, Quinn, no time listener, no time, first time caller.
You listened back in the day. See if your school was closed.
I was in 3rd grade, dude.
Then old time listener
with my Snoopy radio. You know the one I'm talking about.
I know.
So I said, "Hey man, where'd the stuff go?" He goes, I'll have to get back to you. I'm like, all right, man. I just thought that was interesting. So great.
Well, what's your take on it? It was taken down for why?
Well, whether it's a conservative station or it's a liberal station, they beat up on, whatever. So there's stuff that leads up to it. They were saying that Dr. Tack should be wearing high heels so you have a better chance of winning. Dude, there was some, as I was listening, when somebody called me, I started recording it on my own. And it's about 5 minutes. And it was a pretty good 5 minutes. But the stuff that I heard earlier from that was pretty intense. So it's impressive that the Lake Forest mayoral election is in the news. I'm glad that gender is in the news. I'm glad that people are questioning, hey, shouldn't the best person win?
Well, how did they even get? I mean, it's obviously someone must have said, hey, there's a really intriguing election coming up in Lake Forest, or no? I mean, I can't believe WIP.
That's kind of why I wanted to go back and do more due diligence.
Oh, I got you.
Because this is like a spur of the moment text at 6:30 in the morning or something like that. I'm like, huh? And then I'm wait,
funny.
Somebody who from the caucus called in? I'm like, what if I would have done that?
Well, we talked about it. It's going to be an interesting, couple months leading up to the election.
So it is. So I'll see.
Could be comical. Could be chuckles.
It's pretty
along
funny.
the way.
Catherine Lemmer.
Yeah, we had her on the show. Didn't we? Yeah.
She retired in October.
Nice.
And she came out of retirement.
A la Tom Brady.
I guess she went into the librarian NIL portal.
Just can't, I still got some goodness in me.
So she went in the librarian portal and she came up in Goshen, Indiana.
Nice.
I guess they got a nice dome there.
Well, hopefully there's no meth being smoked in the bathrooms there at that library.
Is Goshen
You're not responding. That was a joke with Colorado and what's going on in Colorado libraries.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Two libraries they had to shut down and clean out because the homeless are smoking meth in the bathrooms, and it's got into the system, into the ventilation systems. So
Colorado,
Denver, and Boulder and another suburb.
Oh, Coach Prime will take care of that. He won't deal with it. I've watched almost every video of him in the way he dresses staff and the players. He's legit, man. He is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the marketing and he has the influence.
Prime
time. All 8 of his toes. You hear about that?
No, I don't want to hear about this.
No, dude, he almost died. He had a blood clot, and he had to cut off part of his leg and his toes, man. That's why he's limping.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Hey,
there
man.
Time.
Miss a lot. So, Catherine, good luck in Goshen. And here, I'll tell you, somebody asked me who's taking over for her. I just find it interesting that you retire in October, then you wait 3 months and you get another gig. That means that she got a bonus or something. I'll edit that out in post.
Got something like you can't go to another library or something and you don't get your bonus or your pension or whatever. Hope it's not like some superintendents that leave and have to sit out for a while and then they're getting double pension, but not going to mention any prior.
Well, our boy Dan Dorfman did an article, and
your boy,
he's here December 20th. He put an article out there. Dan, another plug for you, man, because love you. On December 13th, the Lake Forest Library Board announced the hiring of David Seeleb as interim library director starting in early January. He succeeds Catherine Lemmer, who announced her retirement in October. Also set to start in early January is Renee Garassi as the new director of the Lake Bluff Library. All right. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the community if you're new to the community.
Hey, could you renew my card? Do I have to go in? Okay, so that's news.
Oh, but you can save a lot of money.
And then Skoo, people are all worried about COVID and all this stuff.
Yeah.
This flu that's around, this RSVP transmission, respiratory
flu.
Respiratory syncytial virus infection.
Wow.
I'm telling you, dude, it's legit. It is the Chuck Norris of flus.
Is it?
I'm on day 8. And
really?
it's
Beating the crap out of you?
Oh, beating the crap out of me. Beating the crap out of me.
Well, what are you doing for it? Just letting it run its course?
Well, you empty out your Dayquil. Your
NyQuil?
the show must go on, Skoo. But
yeah, there you go.
I would take that seriously, because that is a next level up lung infection, almost like pneumonia, if not pneumonia.
Really?
I would
boy.
I would take heed of that, Skoo.
I will do that.
Okay.
Back to the mask and the face mask.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you didn't mention at the council meeting, did you stay up for the senior housing?
I did, for 16 units or something like that.
12 units.
12 or 6?
There's 5 already. I believe
okay.
There's 5 already,
all right.
yeah, or 6 already. But yeah, phenomenal. I mean,
well, it's smart the way they're doing it. They're spreading it around town, so you don't have one spot.
Right.
One of them's behind me, next to my neighbor.
Nice. No, it's it's been years that they've been, and kind of, Kathy was kind of, Melanie mentioned that, that Kathy was, spearheaded this years ago, and she did, and she really drove this thing, and it's phenomenal. I think it's great. I mean, it's needed, and it's great that they can get the land and the housing built, and apparently there's lines of people waiting, so even more awesome that they can get this through.
Saturday morning, 10 a.m., St. Mary's Church, mass for Beth, Tiffany. I'm gonna try to get over there. This stuff's got to be over by then. I mean,
how long?
8 days. I'm going on 8. Some people tell me it's like 14.
Wait, throwing up and all that, or is it just body?
It's respiratory, man. It's like COVID is like it burns out really. My experience burns out really quick. This thing lingers on and is intense for at least a week. So I would just say, get your flu shots. PSA, get your flu shots out there.
I did the flu shot like 10 or 12 years ago and was just the worst sick for about a week to 10 days. And
you're one of those?
No, I'm not one of those. I'm telling you facts that I never did it before. I did it one time and I was like, that didn't do it.
And then, all right, well, it takes me on another tangent. The echo chamber rooms, you see all these postings of, young people dropping and they all got vaxxed.
All right.
You got a thought on that?
I don't. I mean, I think it's
Skoo
I am not a conspiracy theorist and all that, but I do think it's really weird that all these young people are just dropping and dying. I don't know what the cause is, but
I would like to see the actual numbers, because do you remember at Wrigley, poor kid, 28, teacher, choked on a hot dog, dropped dead at Wrigley.
Don't remember that. I don't really remember anything. When you say that name, I was just looking across the street at the dog that's,
all right. Well, I'm sorry.
The people aren't picking up across the street right now. I'm sorry. Did you say something about Wrigley?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's talk about Comiskey. Okay. In August, 80 kids died right outside. They were about 13 years old suddenly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Must because of the inhabitants of Kaminsky. Here's a one for you, Pete.
Hit me, Skoo.
Go off on a tangent, and we had talked about this a while ago.
Yeah.
And again, it gets to just loving your community, and some people hate the community, which is fine too, whatever. But we were doing on a Sunday walk, and we walked down to the beach as we usually do, and then head back home. And ironically, we're walking, and there's these lime green bags, and we're walking on, what street was that?
No shit.
I can't remember what street it was, but going home from the beach, we had counted on elm tree, 25. Let me tell you, 25 lime green poop bags in people's bushes or along the side walking out. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with people? Don't just pick it. It's great you pick it up. The other thing is you got to take it to a garbage can, not someone else's yard. 25 on one street.
What is the?
It was almost time to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my Pam was like 5, 6, 7. Are you kidding?
See,
people, we stopped counting.
If I was running for mayor, I'd be running on that.
I mean, lime green bags are biodegradable. So are these idiots that are throwing the bags in the thing? Do they think, that's no big deal, they'll just disappear because they're biodegradable?
Were they at the city council meeting last night?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I bet you they're poop droppers.
It just drove both of us crazy, and it still drives me crazy because I, again, see people not picking up, and but then on the other side, people are picking up, way to go, good job, and then dumping it in someone's yard or in the street, just leaving on the sidewalk and in the street. It's not maybe for 100 years, and it's going to sit there. I don't get it. Help me with that, Pete. I know we hammered on this at
is it recyclable or reusable?
Well, I don't think it's recyclable because they can't make a bench out of it because of what the contents are in it.
Skoo, here's the secret to winning the mayoral election. Number 1, run on the poop bag deal. And then number 2, outlaw anybody in the Lake Forest city limits, outlaw those bicycle outfits.
Okay, Cam. Well, here's Seriously? The other one. And the grocery cart. Here's the funny thing. I know we talked about the grocery cart. I know we're going off on tangents.
Who cares?
I'm walking home from work the other day, and there is a mom and son in front of us walking, right? And we're right in front of Jewel. And she's bitching to her son about the grocery carts that are on the sidewalk and it was just kind of funny because it was kind of like you're weaving and all that. And she was bitching to the fact that no one comes out and gets the grocery carts, which in turn, I'm like, I didn't even want to get into it. But she goes, it's time I get in there. There's no grocery carts out there because they're all out here. And there's no grocery cart vestibule. And that's why they're all here. And I'm like, and she's giving a dissertation on this to her son, and I'm just laughing, and he's just kind of walking like, Mom, I only want to get some Chips Ahoy. I mean, come on. But my point is, it's like, yeah, the grocery carts were out there, but she walked by like 5 of them and was bitching that by the time she gets in there, there's going to be no grocery cart. You can't grab one and wheel it in there. And she probably went in there and bitched to the management desk that no one's coming out and picking up the grocery carts. Well, here's my thing, people. Don't just dump them in the bushes. Jewel is not this Costco where the parking lot and it doesn't need a vestibule to dump your carts. They have people to do it, but also help these people out. Don't just, when you pack up your car with groceries, don't leave the cart. Walk 5 steps and put the cart back by the front door where they can pick it up. I don't know. You got me on a tangent.
All right, let's reel you back in. Last time
you can cut that out.
No, we'll leave that in there. People might be out on a bicycle ride wanting to hear some of this wearing their outfit. I got a few emails, and I had a phone call with somebody over the weekend.
And
Paul Hamann.
Paul Hamann.
I have a different opinion of the guy.
Out of the woodwork.
He
what was your opinion before?
Well, I was calling him Muppet guy. All I saw was, what I saw at the city council meeting. You get a 3-minute snippet of somebody, and it's hard to get an opinion. So I spent like an hour on the phone with him. And
Is he coming on the show?
I would have done. He's going to come on the sofa. We have.
Now, is he going to lay down? And you're going to interview him with kind of like a.
No, it's going to be like this. Here, let me see. I'm going to just go like that, and we'll have a little wireless mic on him back there, and you just see his head, and we're going to.
Do you have a boom mic you can kind of?
No, it's little wireless mic you clip on and
nice.
Clip it there.
Are.
Yeah. And then we have well, here, let me get back to Paul. He's pretty passionate about the turf. Okay. So he's not going to win me over on the turf, but the other, because we're going, why should I vote for you? And he's going down the list, and the one that stuck out to me was now it's not going to be a slam of the Friends, but we talked about how the Friends of the rec, what's it called? Lake Forest Friends
Foundation.
Okay.
Friends of the Recreation or whatever it is. Foundation.
So one of the things he was bringing up to me was that, the band started as $3,000 bands, and then it, got exponentially more. And he was talking about the net of it. And I'm like, that makes sense. All right. And well, we spent 50 minutes talking about the turf and then 10 minutes on that. So I had to, wade through the turf to get to that. But he's a good guy. Good, So
don't run for mayor on one. Dude, that's gonna be passed before you get in there. Don't do that. Run on other issues. Leave those ones alone. You're not going to win those ones.
Well, that's why I'm saying he brought that up, about the band budgeting, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So I try to look for the good, and then so he's going to come on the show. We have who do we have next week, Skoo?
And we have Prue next week. We got to get all the three of them on.
Well,
we got Paul coming on, and
on a serious note, Prue, she's a female. The only that's what I heard on WIND. Even though there was as it got later on in the call, there was questioning what a female is, and I had to peace out. But League of Women Voters, they do the debate. I don't think they're going to do a debate, or they're going to do a debate and it's just going to be Prue.
No, they got to do the debate.
Why do they?
Because they do it every year, or not every year, every election cycle. There is, whether it's aldermen or whatever, they do. That's part of what they do for the community, and it'd be kind of ironic if they decide not to do it.
Well, I have to check my facts, but I don't think they've reached out to any males to do this debate. So if that's the case,
well, it's only going to be Randy and Prue, because the rest of the slate, Randy, Prue, and Paul, because the rest of the slate, no one's running opposing aldermen and or school board people.
Well, I know the two guys, and nobody from the LWLF, whatever it's called, has reached out to. Maybe they will later, but
I'm sure they're going to reach out. I don't think so. I don't think they're not going to do it. I mean, like I said, it's part of what they do for the community.
Part of my nature, Skoo, is
I know.
Let's just say that is the case, then I would think you would be up for, if somebody offered to you, Skoo Walker, would you be a mediator for a debate between Paul Hamann and Dr. Randy Tack at the Gorton Center? Would you be up for it? I think you'd be up for it.
Sure.
And I think those two guys would be up for it. And then Drew can be at the ballot harvesting parties. And we can have a nice little event. Gorton's a nice place.
Well, yeah. And again, Pete, it's, it may be a little bit too early for the debate or it's kind of, we say debate, you say debate. It might be a meeting of the candidates, some might want to say. But I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. If they don't,
okay, even if it does, if we can get Gorton's, I don't know if anybody's listening out there, Amy Wagliardo, if you're out there, if we can get Dr. Tack, Paul Hamann, you and I in Gorton, kegger in the back, I'll buy the liquor license for the day, and we could be a step above and a step below, somewhere in between, where we can take something serious and have a true town hall discussion of the stuff that's going on in Lake Forest and get past all this other crap.
Sure. Hey, just rewind real quick. When they were talking about the turf and questioning all that, I thought it was amusing, and it's Chuckles Wednesday, so I thought this was amusing. But I don't know if you picked it up. Obviously you didn't pick it up because I figured you would bring it up. But I don't know which person was questioning, the severity, if you call it that, of possible damage to the turf and below the surface and all that. And the guys said, all the benefits of the iron turf as well as the padding underneath, but the only way it could be damaged if someone, kind of put, stake not a hammer.
Oh, a chair.
A chair or something.
Sharp. Yeah.
And all I could think of when they were talking about that without saying it was, I don't know who that person was that when initially these conversations were going.
4th of July high heels?
No. Again, it's Chuckles Wednesday. But all I kept thinking about was when they kept saying that, it like, is someone going to follow up and say, so what's going to go on with, the fireworks and people walking out there? And it is a serious issue. If they're saying that it's the only way this turf can get damaged is through like a spike or something.
Yeah.
4th of July is the perfect opportunity to ruin the turf. And I'm just curious on, next moving forward with what's the decision going to be? Obviously they're moving forward with the turf, but what happens with the fireworks and all that, because I'm telling you, they continue to have it there. Afterwards there's going to be holes, right?
No stilettos.
All I could think of when they kept talking, when they were talking, was that one lady who was just adamant. What am I going to do if I can't wear my stilettos to the fireworks show?
Skoo, I got the flu. I was up late watching the city council meeting like this, watching Era's eyeballs go like this. I'm on a bottle of Dayquil.
Lucky you got that.
Everything is funny. It's all good. Casey Urlacher, welcome back to the Lake Forest podcast, my friend.
Thanks, Pete and Skoo. I appreciate it for having me on again.
Now we are all still around.
Surprising.
Oh, it's good.
Now
We made it another year, right?
another year. Last time we talked was maybe May of 2021. I'm just going through my recollection here. You had the Lou Gehrig's record for making meetings in a row. Is that streak intact? It was at 96 the last time that we talked.
Still intact. So I'm still staying strong. It's funny, you caught me on a board meeting day today, so I have my board meeting tonight at 7. So yes, you caught me, Pete.
All right, okay.
So we're still rolling strong. We're trying to run 12 years and see what happens. I guess what's 12 and 12, 144. That excludes all special meetings and committee meetings and everything. But yeah, for my board meetings, it'd be 12 for 12, and then we'll make a decision on whether I run again or not, I guess, right?
Nice.
You're going to tease us?
I like to keep everyone. It's called dangling a carrot, Pete. That's just dangling a carrot. That's all.
And then you adjusted your whatever account that was. People are giving you crap saying you're going to run for senator. Is that all cleared out, or is that still something?
Yeah, no, it's still out there. I still have both of my accounts open, my Senate one and my mayoral one, obviously. But I'll leave it out there. I like to keep people guessing, especially down in Springfield, for sure.
Hey, I was on the caucus the last time we talked. And then after we talked, I wasn't. I don't know what happened.
I do.
Hey, Casey, we got an election coming up here in Lake Forest, and last I heard, you know something about politics, and I'm sure that you can make comments on certain things, and you can't, and you can just let us know. Hey, you know what? No commento. I get it. But are you familiar with what's going on here in Lake Forest?
So it's funny. I think I said this the last time. Maybe I didn't. You have a Judge Waldeck in your village. His wife was an alderwoman,
right?
And I saw them right before the holiday. Or actually, I saw them in January, early January, right before the holidays, maybe somewhere in there. And I guess it's kind of getting sticky over there, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Which has never happened on fortunately for you guys, it's never happened. So we got into it, not got into it. Judge Waldeck is a friend of mine, first of all, and his wife was an alderwoman for 8 years.
Is that Kathy?
I believe it is Kathy.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Kathy, yeah. She's going to do a show here on the 20th next week, sitting on that sofa. We're going to do a podcast together. Okay. So you can talk to her right now.
Yeah, I know her husband, Judge Joe Waldeck, really well. And so I kind of get most of my information from her, or most of it. I think I told you guys last time, I knew Mayor Don really well. I have a hard time saying his last name. What a great guy. Mayor Don and I got along really well, really well. Liked him a lot. So I'm not saying I'm out of tune. I'm just kind of waiting. I haven't endorsed anybody, nor have I been asked to endorse anybody. But as I said, I always like to have a good working relationship with my surrounding mayors and village managers. So, elections are tough, and there's a lot of things, and you hope that they stay positive, and you hope that they tell the truth and let the facts fall where they may, so people can make educated decisions on that. That's what you hope for and want for your residents. That's all what I always said. I've said, if you stick to the facts in elections, I've been in 4 of them in 10 years. I said, it's hard for people to say no if they really read into it,
But it's not so much the facts, at least what I'm seeing lately. It's more about how organized you are in collecting the votes, especially with this mail-in balloting, or they call it harvesting. Have you heard about this, Casey?
Yes, I've heard that being called harvesting. I've seen a few people in trouble for ballot harvesting also. So, that's that's unfortunate if that's what's going on. And such as I think 25,000 people roughly in there, 30,000 people at
about 20. It's about 20.
So to do that is kind of sad. If that is what is going on, I haven't heard that part. So you guys are really on the inside, Pete and Skoo, than I am.
Well, I guess it's not so much like Forest, but I mean, it's I don't want to get too political here. Okay, you're Republican, I'm Republican. Skoo's not anything, but
Skoo's something. He just keeps it inside, which is
he's
good.
smart. He's smart. He's
He
smart.
holds his card close to his vest.
That's right. But it just seems to me that the Republican friends that I have, they're like, you know what? I'm going to wait till election day and get that vote out there. And then they wait till that last day, and then something comes out, and then they can't make it to vote. And if you can get everybody together just to sign up to get the mail-in ballot, have a laptop open and just collect it and have it sent to your house, do you think we could get more of a turnout? Because Lake Forest got 20,000 people, 16,000 voters, and
Wow.
and the mayor has been like 3,000 votes, 4,000 if you're lucky, and the turnout might be more this time. So the question is, we have Dr. Randy Tack, who the caucus endorsed. We have Prue Beidler, who didn't make the cut. Randy got it over her. She's going to contest it, and she's not really saying anything because I don't think she has to, because I think she's harnessing her organizational skills. What's that senator's name, Skoo, that she's with?
Susan Garrett.
Susan Garrett. Okay,
Oh.
was the state senator.
Yeah, I know Susan really well.
Now I'm just picking this up in the last year, Casey. So you guys are going to have to help me guide me through it. But if I doubt she'll even want to go to the League of Women Voters debate. Just have these parties get people together. The mail-in voting registration is beginning of February, and just go around and I don't want to say go to your Democratic friends, but get the votes that and put them in. What do you think that's a new way of voting, Casey?
Well, I think we've witnessed this in Arizona and in maybe the presidential election 2 years ago. Is that politics aside, I think we've figured out that the Democrats just maybe like to hide in their basement a little bit, right? The lady in the Katie Hobbs did it in Arizona. She didn't do one appearance. She barely did an appearance, I would say. She didn't do any debates.
Yeah.
I think with President Biden, you notice the same thing. The guy didn't get out of his basement in Delaware for 18 months, 2 years, whether it's COVID or not COVID. So, if that's the new way of campaigning, that is news to me. And if they're just going to ballot harvest, this is all a different ballgame now, because, I personally like to get out and host coffees and wine and cheeses and do fundraisers and events to where you meet people. That's me personally. And I still think the majority of candidates do like that. I have to say that that's the only two people that pop up in my head that really, really hit. I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that either. I mean, that's well documented that they did nothing, neither one of them, and they both won.
Well, ballot harvesting isn't illegal.
Correct. It is not illegal.
So if you're more organized and you can get more groups together, it seems to me, the Republicans are going to have to get up to speed on this.
Yeah, they definitely got to change the way that they vote. I mean, I think you saw this in 2022 with the November election. We thought we were going to see a red wave, so on and so forth, and everybody pumped it up to be that way, that we're going to pick up 25, 30 seats. Obviously, that didn't happen. They picked up, I believe, 8 seats, still taking the majority of the House. But in saying that, it goes back to the early voting stuff. Republicans don't early vote. They don't. Right. They're day of voters. I like voting early. I've always voted early. Of course, I've been on the day of too before, but going out and getting people to vote early is key. And the mail-ins have always been the kicker, right? Whether you believe it or not, you fall asleep at 10 o'clock at night and you wake up and there was 300,000 votes to come in for another candidate when you were up. It's hard to understand the mail-in stuff too, because that's a big part of it, is the mail-in and the early voting.
I'm not going to hop on the conspiracy side of things that all of a sudden these votes came in. I do think that, again, for whatever reason, the Democrats are more organized and they have the machine together to do this. So why? It's like this podcast. I've had Dr. Randy Tack on, Paul Hamann. He's the other person running for mayor. He's going to come on. Prue Beidler, crickets, and doesn't want to make any public appearances. Why take the risk when you have this machine going on in the background? Is the only thing that I can figure out. Now, Skoo, you better say something, or you're going to say, "Hey, Pete, this isn't my opinion."
Well, I mean, I think there's, and we just mentioned it earlier, that, the last mayor was around 3,000, 4,000 votes. And, strategically, you're looking at it, that's, that was a lot, I think, from the years past. So, strategically, if you're looking at what number do I have to get to, and do I know, or do my contingency know people that we can get to get a number, why would you do anything else except making sure you got a certain number to challenge? I mean, that's how I think it's being looked at. Do I think Prue's I think she's gonna do the debate. She may not. I mean, I think she would, but there's a lot of questions that are out there for her to answer that, she may not, because she doesn't want to answer those questions.
Well, in case Casey doesn't know what the questions are, the first one is, the caucus is supposed to vet people coming through to make sure they don't have an agenda. Okay. Now, Casey, I don't know if it's the right thing or wrong thing to do, but if I'm going to interview somebody, to me, a good piece of objective data is just to look at the campaign contributions. Now, a couple hundred here, 500 there, I get it. But if you're looking at a $500,000 going to a certain party, you're going to say, huh. And if that certain party is Lori Lightfoot, Kim Fox, you can be like, wait a minute, that's not Lake County. To me, that speaks to agenda. Is it right to look at political contributions in a mayoral race?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I had a resident donate in 2015 when I ran for Senate. Now, I did encompass his district also, but he was a resident also. Then in 2017, I took some heat for it, but he donated to my Senate, right? Not my mayoral. And then in 2017, he donated to my mayoral, and then again in 2021. So I understand it's the optics of it, of where it's coming from, right? You want people in your village to support you, right? That's what you feel like. Have I had outside money for my mayoral race? 100%. I think we all know pretty clear in my village that we do no commercial development. We are pro open space. We promote open space, and not only that, we just don't take commercial meetings. We have one piece of property in front of the Hilton that's a commercial location. We don't advertise it. If somebody wants to come in and look at it, it's 3 acres. We'd be happy to listen to them, but by any means, I mean, I think it's just what we're in right now too, the society and world that we're in, unfortunately, of everybody nitpicking. I mean, you see Lightfoot giving back the 42 or 44,000 to some lobbyists a couple months ago that she had took money for 4 years ago, but now I guess that money isn't good enough. But he was still a lobbyist 4 years ago, according to my records. So what does it matter 4 years ago and now is my question, because if it was good 4 years ago and then you want to give the 42 grand or whatever it is back now, well, he was still a lobbyist 4 years ago. But now, because everybody's eyes are on it, now the optics of it say, okay, well, let's give it back. And maybe they won't go back 4 years ago when I did take it and spent it. But you did already.
Then the second question, Casey, is, unless Skoo, you got something?
Well, I mean, and we've talked about it. I mean, to me, the campaign contributions, if your government is a two-party, kind of three-party system, yeah, I mean, that's a consideration. But Lake Forest is a caucus-based system that you hope, or I would hope, I'm not sitting in those vetting meetings, but during that process, I mean, you're supposed to walk in there, and the first question is, do you have agendas or any, not political affiliation, but political bias? And if you can get through that process and you don't, everyone makes contributions. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, everyone makes their political contributions wherever. But the game is, if you can get through the process and you can throw those aside and do what you need to do for the city, then there's really not a bias. But my take on that, and this is a little different, Pete and I, is if that was considered during the vetting process, it may have been. I wasn't there, but she's failed 3 times now trying to run for mayor through the process. She's not gotten through that interview process. So it could have been there, but I think moving forward, now that she's on the outside running, I mean, it's all fair game to talk about, but I think if the process works its way through, which I think it has, that may have been a consideration, inside the caucus vetting process as opposed to outside.
So, Skoo, is that a sort of or a yes that should be looked at?
Well,
I thought Casey was the politician.
No, I'm saying it's part of the vetting process.
Okay.
That's where it's, it could have. Like I said, I wasn't in that.
Right.
Someone could have brought that up and said, "Hey, you're donating. Can you put that aside?" And but obviously she, her team, so to speak, that is she's gathered together is very
machine-like.
Yeah. So I mean,
well, let me ask you a question, Skoo and Pete. Then I didn't get in trouble for this, but I was ridiculed for it in 2015. I wrote a check to Alexi Janulius back in 2008 or something when he was running for treasurer, way back in the day, right? It might have been 2006. Whenever he's running for treasurer, I wrote him like a $250 check. I mean, you can pull it up; it's public knowledge. So in 2015, they say I support Democrats. Well, Alexi's been my friend for 20 years. I played basketball with him at East Bank. So can I not have Democratic friends also? If you're, Pete, I'm quite certain, or Skoo, we don't know where Skoo lies right now, but Pete, can you not donate to one of your Democratic friends? And are you going to get ridiculed to it because you've had a lifelong friend for 30, 40 years who you wanted to help out? And then I got ridiculed saying, well, I donate to Democrats. Listen, in 2006, 2008, that's the furthest thing from my mind. I was trying to help Alexi get elected, right?
If Prue's got the scratch, I mean, her contributions to the blue could buy my house. So if she could give a little bit more to the caucus itself, because if you got $500,000 and you give 5,000 of it to the caucus that you're running against, which is another issue we'll talk about. That's all I'm saying. That could be a sort of an agenda.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So, second issue, Casey, is gender politics. Okay. I am not on the caucus anymore because of there goes Skoo. I'll blur him out for this show. I left the caucus because I was in a meeting where the leader of the caucus said, hey, if all things are equal, we're going to vote for the female because we need more females on the board. I'm like, you can't, what? Did you really just say that? It's, obviously it's got to be.
Can I correct it? Didn't she say instead of we that you? Wasn't she directing it at the caucus that the caucus should be voting?
Yes.
Kind of directive.
And then coaching the people who would interview, they would coach them through the interview versus the male that went through, and the male far did a better job than the female. I'm like, hey man, this is bull crap. And I said it on the podcast, and I'll put the clip to the podcast here. I said, hey man, if you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to tell everybody I know about it. Then they said, Pete, you can't be talking about what happens in the caucus. I go, well, if you keep steering things, I'm out of here. Kick me out. So Bruce coming through saying, it sounds like I'm slamming the caucus, and I've gone back and forth, Casey. So I could be a politician, the last year or two. All right. But I turned around when they put Dr. Tack through because I met with him, checked him out, straight up dude. Would meet with me, would tell me what he's running on. And
good past alderman.
Yeah, Pat. He had the credentials and all that. So I'm like, all right, good dude. I vouch. I try to do the same thing with Prue. and nothing. So she's going to play the female card. She's going to say Lake Forest has never had a female mayor. You just have to vote for me because I'm a female. I know it's going to happen, but how do we get around that? I mean, it even made what is WIND 560? Somebody sent me something that Amy Jacobson and the other guy
Dan
were.
Proft.
Yeah, they were talking about it last week on their show. You got any thoughts on that?
Skoo, you chime in, or you want me to chime in?
Oh, you can go ahead. I'll go after you.
Of course. I have no problem with women being in power. I honestly, my two women in for my village, Sandy and Mandy. Sandy's my village clerk, appointed by me, and Mandy is my village manager, appointed by me. They have done a phenomenal job. My board, I've appointed more women to my board, I believe. I feel like if you qualify for the position, in my mind, and you have vetted, and everyone that has vetted you, and you feel comfortable, and you get the yay vote. I remember in 2013, I went and met with every trustee, whether they were with me or not. None of them were. 4 of them were against me. Only 2 were for me. But I still won. But I felt it was necessary for me to go sit and meet with each one of them, letting them know that these are what I wanted to do. I planned on running. Here was what I was somewhat running on at the time in 2013, 2012, 2013. So I think that process of vetting them is true, Pete. I think it's necessary to do so, and to get that familiarity of doing it. I don't think a lot of people take the time, whether you're with me or not. I'd rather hear it from day one, and then let you warm around for 4 months, wondering where my vote is, and me keep wasting my time. I want people that are yeses, right? I'm not going to waste my time on no's. When you tell me you're a no, I'm not going to talk to you for the rest of the campaign because you're a no. Unless you call me and say, hey, I've had a change of heart. There's been some stuff on the other side that I don't agree with, some things that have been said. Fine, I'm open to you again if you're back on the fence. I want yeses and maybes. That's what I want, because that's how I win elections. When you tell me no from the beginning, I'm not going to waste another dollar of sending you a flyer, sending you anything. I'm done. I am focused on yeses and maybes. That's it.
Best person. Skoo, your thoughts?
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, and we've talked about it. I think that is one of the, again, cornerstones of the caucus process is the vetting. And there's 40% women on the caucus. And sure, it may be time, as people say, for a woman mayor. I would agree. And there's been women that interviewed and didn't get it, but it's always who's the right person.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're, a cat, dog, female, male, whatever it is, if you're the best qualified in that interview process, I mean, I'm all for it. But, what we're going through is kind of a little different. Is someone that has been denied 3 times, 3 different caucuses, for mayor, which tells something must be wrong in the interview process for 3 different
caucuses. You guys got a different animal right now that you're dealing with.
And now she's running against, which is fine. But, I've heard it. I don't know if it's true, but like you said, Pete, it was on the radio cast, and it's been filtering around, and it shouldn't be. It should be that's one of the questions I said that is out there. Why are you running now against the caucus that supported you for 25 plus years, and using something?
It's hysterical. One of the call-ins was somebody on the caucus.
Oh, really?
said Prue didn't interview well. I'm like,
well,
it's almost like having a podcast.
Well, and that's the whole point. I mean, that's why it's a little different from the straight Republican, Democrat, independent running. Is there's a group of people in our community that are elected by our community to do that vetting. If those person, I think, Casey, your friend, the Waldecks, I mean, I believe she went through the process and didn't make it through, which, some people go, okay.
Listen, Kelly's a phenomenal lady.
And I thought she'd be a fantastic mayor. to be honest
So
with you.
she went through it and she didn't get the nod. And she didn't bitch and moan to me, pardon my French, Pete Skoo, but she said, okay, hey, they don't want me. I didn't meet the criteria, not because I'm a woman or I just didn't fit it. And she accepted the fact and moved on. And now she's still involved in politics, which I think is great. You know, even that she's not been in office for 4, 5, 6 years, she's still involved with what's going on because it still affects her life, right? So,
and she supports what's going on in the community too, with the caucus and all that. Yeah. She's not kind of saying, "Well, screw you guys. I'm going to show you." And
she didn't. She said, "Okay, hey,
right.
I'm a big lady. I can handle this and keep moving on and doing the right thing for your community." And she has.
Right.
Let's stand up to me.
Third issue that's going on, guys, and we'll let Casey go first, obviously. Prue Beidler has done pretty well with the caucus system for 25 years, give or take, right? She's served well as far as I know. Again, I've only been here 4 years. I'm going by what Skoo tells me. And the minute she got rejected the third time for mayor, the minute she got rejected that third time, all of a sudden the caucus system isn't such a good system anymore. How is that hypocritical? Or because I'm going through 3 issues that if I'm going to vote for her, those are the 3 things. That third one is you took advantage of this. The system did well for you.
Right.
Now the system is, you didn't get what you wanted out of the system. Now you're going against the system by contesting the election. What's wrong with that picture, Casey?
I mean, come on. This is simple. This is like the Electoral College that everybody talks about every time if a Republican wins the presidential election, right? Hillary said it, saying, "Are you kidding me? We got to get rid of the Electoral." The Electoral College has been around 200 and something years, right? How long has it been around? 200 years? Okay, so now you want to change that process because it didn't work out for you. You got the most votes, right? But you didn't get the Electoral College, which has always been that way. So now, 25 years later, she's saying, "Wow, the caucus is great. I love the caucus. I'm doing everything right. But now they're pushing back on her, saying, "Well, you're not who we thought, and we vetted you, and you're not what we want." Now the caucus is screwed up. It doesn't make any sense. It's the process. It's the way. You're not going to change that, and nor should you, in my mind. That's the way your caucus works, and rightfully so. You guys have had some great mayors and great alderwomen and great aldermen, and you will continue that. But to change the process, no, just because it's not in her favor.
Yeah.
And isn't there a certain point of reflection on oneself, saying, you know, I've done this 3 times now, and you know, isn't there something where you look in the mirror and say, what have I done wrong? Because it's been 3 different interview processes. But again, it's like almost kind of like, you know, I'm not going to support this anymore. And now it's kind of matriculated to other people saying, I'm not going to support the caucus on this go around. And they're aldermen and they've been supported by the caucus system. So it's just kind of bad look.
Well, those are the 3 hurdles she's got to get over to get my vote. Because I'm going to put a number 4 here. It's not 3A. I met Dr. Tack for coffee because I wanted to learn a little bit about him, Casey. Look him in the eye and, you know,
as you should.
Full of crap or whatever. We sat down at Mary's at Gerhardt's bakery in town. And I walk into the place to meet Dr. Tack. And then I see a couple of ladies yelling at the owner, Mary, and they're yelling at her because there's a Randy Tack for mayor sign in the window. And the 2 people that are yelling at the business owner is Prue Beidler and who's that other lady?
Susan Garrett.
Susan Garrett. That's
like Susan.
Talk about optics.
Yeah, I like Susan. I've known her a long time, so it's hard for me to say anything bad about Susan. She's always been supportive of me, but you know, who am I to tell anybody who? You know, I always said it. I said, even when they would have another sign of another political opponent of mine in their yard, I still went and knocked on the door. You know what I mean? That doesn't deter you from doing it. You say, hi, here's my piece. Here's what I'm about. Let people have a voice in their own opinions and make up their own mind. I mean, why are we telling people that they can and can't have a sign in their window or in their yard? Why? When do we get to this point in politics where it's not okay to put up a political sign, whether you agree with them or not? When the election's over on April 4th or whatever, you yank up the sign and say, hey, that was fun. And then you go back to being neighbors again, right? I mean, the politics in this is caused family problems now. It's caused neighbor problems now. I mean, you talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners now. Geez, these are all out wars now to do this stuff. So it's just crazy that it's okay. We have a difference of opinion. We don't know where Skoo stands. Do I dislike Skoo? Not at all. I'd love to see him and meet him and have a cup of coffee with him and learn more about it. I'm not a one-track mind where everything I say is the way it has to be. I'm glad people have different opinions and thoughts. That's what I want.
Well,
that.
if you don't want that, then you got an echo chamber. You might as well go sit in a Facebook chat room.
So good for those people for leaving their sign up. I mean, there's a guy in LA who's a huge Republican. He's like on Sunset Street or something, and he has only Republican stuff. And I'm sure in Hollywood, he takes heat every day. I know he does, but he has a huge following of people that still support him, in the downtown of Hollywood, and good for him.
All right. Are we done with politics?
Please.
Okay.
I got to talk politics tonight, Pete. Come on.
Oh, that's right. You got to
get them all fired up.
Yeah, you get me rolling. It's only 8 in the morning. I got to
pour the drinks out.
10 hours before I can talk.
We're going to have to do a follow-up cast here.
Hey, man, we got to give some props to your alma mater, man. They haven't lost a regular season game. Whoops. Coach Catanzaro, man, 2 undefeated seasons in a row.
Here, Coach Cat and I talk quite a bit. He's recruiting some kids. My nephew's a pretty good football player out of Chandler High School in Arizona. He's got offers from Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas State, Miami, New Mexico, Arizona, I think Arizona State. So he's getting a really big offer, and I'm not going to break it to you. He's getting a really big offer on Monday, the 23rd. I'm not saying anything about it. I'll let you guys find it out on Monday, the 23rd. But the kid's a good player. He's a cut from a cloth like his father is, right? So this is Brian's son who I'm talking about. And so Coach Cat recruits a lot of the kids from down there in Arizona because Arizona's got some good kids. They really do. And
he's got 40-something players from Arizona.
Yeah, he does. And he recruits hard in Arizona. And there's a couple kids. There's 2 brothers on the team that one's a linebacker, one's a corner, and they're not getting recruited by anybody. So I told Coach Cat, I said, give these kids a look, man. They're tough players. They're Division III for sure, maybe Division II, but they're not getting looked at by anybody. So I hope he makes an effort to get some of those kids. But all props to Coach Cat. We did something we hadn't done in 20 years in 2002, 2003 by winning the conference championship, and now he's won multiple or numerous. And what a great thing for him to do and to keep going. I'm really proud of that and keeping it going. I really am.
He's a good. He came on the show, straight up dude. He invited me to go to homecoming, which I didn't go.
All right, Pete, we got to go next year then.
Are you going?
We're going.
All right. Because I hear the tailgating's pretty good.
Yeah, no, they did. That's a good party. We should go. I mean, I think the last time I've been 3 or 4 years ago, I went to a game or two. I've always tried to go to one, even if it's not homecoming, because it's kind of colder. If I go earlier in September, you can still kind of go in some short sleeve shirts or shorts. But yeah, I mean, I try to make a point to go to one a game. With 2 girls now, with 2 kiddos at home, it's tough, but they're great. It's a great little backyard to play in.
Great atmosphere in the neighborhood
really
and everything. It's awesome.
It really is a great place.
Then we stole a couple restaurants from you. How do you feel about that? Sophia's and Le Colonial.
I think it's great. Ryan O'Donnell from the owner of Ballyhoo, who has Sophia's, he's a great guy. his stepmother and father are residents in my village, so I know them really well. Sophia's is great. It's gonna do great over there for you guys. La Colonia, I think I've been twice. I don't know the owners, but I hope they do well. It's got great reviews, raving reviews. Not honestly, not my type of style of food. My wife loves it. She thinks it's great. It's not. It's honestly not my.
Can we just send all the wives there, and then we can
go with that. Go, please set it up. So I'm fine with that.
I mean,
so set it up, Pete. But
I'll edit the sound post.
I hope they do great. They're both in great locations. I do believe, and like I said, Ryan O'Donnell's with Sophia's. He's great. He's a great operator. He's got a great mind, and he's going to do good things there.
I want to see Pete go to Sophia's and hammer down that gigantic steak just for the podcast.
I was there, and
that and a tomahawk, one of the tomahawk things.
Oh yeah, that's nothing. Just slide that thing off. Got it. And then on a downer note, one of your old hangouts, the Lantern, Beth Tiffany, rest in peace, passed away. Her funeral is this Saturday, 10 a.m. St. Mary. So everybody out there, suddenly 54, 55, something, years old. But you went. It was your old hangout, right?
Oh, I love the Lantern. I went there every Friday for 3 straight years while I was in college. Me and a couple buddies, we'd go have Friday lunch there, especially Saturday before game day. We'd take a few of the guys in there and have lunch. We were done at noon, have a nice lunch, go home, take a nap, and then go through our walkthrough at 3:30 or 4. It was kind of nice. So, yeah, man, I like the Lantern. I always liked it. Thought it was cool. Loved the train going around. Inside, just a good atmosphere, nice little family place. Been in there a million times. I really like that place. So sad news on that end for Beth.
Yeah. And then any breaking news on Mettawa? See, that's how you say it, Skoo. Mettawa.
Yeah, Skoo. The village of Mettawa. No, you know what? We have no breaking news. We're still pretty liquid. We're financially sound. We're doing great. No. Yeah, we got Costco, we got Granger, so we got some good things. I mean, listen, people always say, how's the village? I said, we're on cruise control. I spoke about Sandy and Mandy earlier. They really make my village run. It's nothing new. I got a great board. I got great trustees. Obviously, we're in the middle of an election too, midterms for us. So yeah. I got, I think everybody's unopposed. So, nothing crazy flying around that it's going to get sticky with. So, I think they all wait till I run to make sure that it gets sticky, because in 3 elections I've never had an uncontested one. So for whatever reason they like to run against me, which is fine. So I promote that. I mean,
like a good challenge.
I believe in contested elections, so I'm okay with that. Please.
And then to sum up, Lake County 14% voter turnout. Mail-in balloting, maybe that'll help. Casey, do you think people care enough to even get the mail-in ballot?
I don't know. Here's a couple things I think, Pete and Skoo, in my mind. 2020 was a weird for us, right? It was COVID. The voting was different. Maybe people didn't want to get out and vote. 2022, you saw a little comeback. I mean, we always have some high turnouts in my village.
Over 50%.
Yeah, we have high turnouts. We really do. I tell you, people care about politics in our village, which I think is great. It's your right to vote, and I think you should. That's my personal opinion. I think you should voice it through voting. I always said, if you don't like what I do, then vote me out. If you don't like the directions the village is going, then vote them people out. Then do the caucus or put the group together, run a slate. When our residents come to the board sometimes, or we're on the phone, I say, you know what? With all due respect, Mr. Jansons, whatever, there's an election coming up in December. Go pull a packet, file your papers, file for a campaign, run your campaign for 4 months, and see how it works out for you. And then make a change on the village if you don't like it. I believe that's a great process we have in this world still, is running a campaign. And I said that to you, Skoo, and Pete. I said, running 4 campaigns in 10 years, whether I won or lost my first one in 2013, it was probably one of the best things that I had done, because I knew that win or lose that campaign, I learned so much. I met so many people. It was just a good process of doing it. We're a nonpartisan village, which I think is awesome. I really do. A nonpartisan village, we don't really get into the crazy stuff, which I think is good.
Yeah. So
I had a board, a special meeting one time. We were talking about a village hall, and I have a resident who's down the corner from me. His name is Mike Oberman. He's a great guy. Him and his wife Margot. They got 4 kids. They're phenomenal people. Mike said he stood up at a meeting. It was about 2 hours long, and we were going back and forth, and it went really smooth. Everybody got the chance to talk. Everybody got to voice their opinion. We gave everybody ample time, and we did everything the right way. And he stood up at any meeting, and he said, "You know what, Casey?" He said, "If I know you're Republican," he said, "if I was a Democrat, I'd vote for you." He said, but it made me feel good because I said, I felt like the meeting went so smooth and it went good. I'm not patting myself on the back. That goes to just the whole board and council and everything. The residents were great. They gave everybody ample time to speak, and there was no, you can't do that and you can't do that, and Democrats don't do that and Republicans don't do that. It was just a good conversation, which I think sometimes we miss. Right. We do.
It's not your identity, right?
Yeah. It's
That's right.
Like I said, I donated to Lexi. Look, if Lexi, I like Lexi. I'm happy he won for Secretary of State. It's just Lexi's I've known for 20 years, and it's hard for me to say no to him. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I'm a loyal guy.
Even though he says you shoot too much.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you for coming on again. It's awesome.
No, Skoo, I appreciate it. Pete, I appreciate you both.
Casey Urlacher, thank you for coming on the Lake Forest Podcast.
Thank you, gentlemen. You guys be good. Have a great week.
Be good.
All right. Good luck with the meeting tonight, my friend.
Thanks, fellas.
Lots of coffee.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Make a memory of a lifetime with Shark Eye Outdoors out of Longboat Key, Florida. Experience their shark beach fishing, kayak tours, and fossil hunting. Go to sharkeyeoutdoors.com and schedule an outing now. Forest Bluff Real Estate Group serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and Michelle Parnell get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Their cannabis cultivation center owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich. They focus on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. Iliad Epic Grow. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. We'd also like to say that we're thankful for our patron supporters. Reverend Luke Beck from the Church of the Holy Spirit. Nat A, Elizabeth C, Costa Lance, Otto, RDM, John C, and Dan Rogers. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Rod Stop in Kenosha, Captain Mike's Kenosha, Greentown Tavern in Waukegan, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan.